Let me ask you something. Are your marketing, sales, delivery, and finance actually talking to each other? That is, if you've already set up your online business. If you haven't, then you'll need to watch this video. Make sure you pay close attention. If these 4 areas are disconnected, that means that you're going to be doing a lot of double handling, you're going to be incurring a lot more stress, and you're probably going to be losing some revenue. In the mid to late 2020s, the online businesses that are going to do really well and that are currently doing really well aren't running these 4 areas separately and in a disconnected manner. They are very tightly knit. They're running a machine. Let me explain why integration matters. Because at the start, it's easy to think marketing, sales, finance, they are their own departments and should be treated that way. But that's not the case. A lot of new business owners look at it this way. Marketing brings in leads, sales call those leads, delivery, that's what we do once they pay, and finance, well, that's just something that we think about at tax time. But here's the truth. If these 4 areas aren't talking to each other, your growth will quickly stall. You don't want to be missing follow-ups, dropping leads, over-delivering and undercharging, or overspending without knowing. Integration equals clarity, and clarity equals power. Just think about it like this. If you don't properly know your finances, how are you going to know how much to spend on ad spend when it comes to your marketing? You might overspend and then think later on, I really didn't have the money to spend that. Or you may overspend now and not factor in how much tax you had to pay, and then not have enough in the bank to actually pay for that tax at the time. This is about getting your cash flow correct as well. So now let's break down the 4 core systems that every online business owner needs to have connected. So marketing is your front door. You need to know where your leads are coming from, which platforms or avenues are performing, and what your cost per lead is. And here's a quick tip. Go high level that we use, and it's perfect. It integrates with Google Ads, Google Business Profile, Meta, TikTok, LinkedIn, Stripe, you name it, all in the one place. Then we come to sales, and the sales process must begin once that lead enters your system. You need clear stages. You need to know when a lead is in the new lead stage, when they've been qualified, when they're won or lost. You need automations, so automated SMS, emails, even through social media and WhatsApp, AI conversation bots, and most of all, you need visibility over where people in the sales process get stuck. You need to know where they're dropping off and why. And then we've got delivery. Once someone pays, how do they get what they've now bought? What's the process? What are the procedures? Are those already in place, or are you making them up as you go? If you can get people on what they call the conveyor belt, you can easily turn and churn. Get people in, do the delivery, the fulfillment, it happens on autopilot. And then what you can do is set up systems. Once people are in, they go through the automated process, or you can employ staff. It goes to this staff member, then to that staff member. The fulfillment sort of takes care of itself without you having to manually watch over the fulfillment. That's the conveyor belt, and that will allow you to scale aggressively. You need standard emails, forms, welcome packs. You need repeatable delivery steps, and you also need status tracking so no one falls through the cracks. Even if you're a one-person business, systemizing delivery saves hours and ensures consistency, and that is going to maintain the trust with your prospect, that consistency. Then we've got finance. A lot of people wait till the end of the financial year to think about the money. Big mistake. You should always be thinking, what is my monthly recurring revenue? What is cash in versus cash out? Do you know your balance sheet and your income statements? Do you know how much you currently owe in tax? Do you know which tools and subscriptions you're using, how much they cost, and what is your break-even point? How much can you actually afford to spend without losing money? Integrate finance with delivery and sales, and also marketing to know how much to spend in marketing, to get a real viewpoint of profitability. It's one thing to know revenue and look at your money coming in and think, I'm on a pretty good revenue. And it's another thing to actually know your real profit, especially after tax. I am always accounting for tax, in case you wanted to know. I've got a separate account for tax, and as soon as any income comes in, the 30% tax the maximum I would have to pay goes straight into that account. So I always have more tax money accounted for in that separate account than I'll ever have to pay in tax. That means I'm always going to have more than I need in that account, and I'm likely going to get some of that money back after tax time. So then once the 4 parts are integrated, now we have to create feedback loops. Marketing is influenced by which sales are closing. Your sales influences the delivery process, so there is smooth transition for onboarding. Finance will tell your marketing how much you can spend per lead, and delivery will give you feedback about your product. It becomes a living system. And just like elite athletes track their performance, you'll be able to course correct in real time, not 6 months too late. So it's not just about building a business, it's about building a machine, a whole ecosystem, a huge system that integrates together and scales aggressively over time. This is what separates the hustlers from the high performers. Ask yourself the question, do you want to be a hustler or do you want to be a high performer? It's not about working harder, it's about thinking as an operator, not just a creator. When marketing, sales, delivery, and finance are visible, measurable, and connected, you free up your time and you stop living in your inbox. This is when your business becomes potentially scalable because you no longer rely on memory or hustle. Because at the end of the day, and here's the lesson, a disorganized business cannot scale. A systemized one will scale without you.